You are listening to Core, a show on Code Zero Radio that plays bands located in the Fox Cities, a show to find and discover new music. Hosted by Andy McNamara.
Hello and welcome to Fox Cities Core here on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're a streaming radio station serving the Fox Cities area and beyond. On this show, Fox Cities Core, we like to feature Fox Cities entertainment and get down into the weeds with those very, very granular questions. During the show, if you've got a question for our guests, you can call us at 920-358-0795. But I would like to start by talking a little bit about Alcoca Coffee. Got a graphic up in Appleton, Wisconsin. Alcoca, if you've never been there, you're missing out. They're the longest serving coffee roaster and cafe in the Fox Cities. They're serving breakfast and lunch Wednesday through Sunday. You can dine in or take out. Last year they expanded and updated their College Avenue location. So if you haven't been there in a while, I suggest you go check it out. Go see the upgrades. The biggest change is the full kitchen, and that allows them to significantly add to their food. So Alcoca Coffee, 500 West College Avenue, right next door to the Appleton Performing Arts Center.
Yeah.
All right. Next guests. The beginnings of Leading the Blind can be traced back to the late 1990s with Marty Paschke. He formed a band called Blind. Blind eventually disbanded in 2001, and Marty continued to write songs, and in 2008 he formed a new project called Leading the Blind. The lineup did have some lineup changes over the years, with Eric Krueger hopping on board in 2010, and then David Kiley and eventually Mike Sinclair. The band is a rock powerhouse, and it's playing shows all over the region. They currently have 3 full-length albums out and an EP under their belt. I'd like to welcome to Fox Cities Core, Marty Paschke, Eric Krueger, and Mike St. Clair from Leading the Blind.
Thanks for having us, Andy.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for hopping on. You guys have been playing in the area for quite some time. You all have rich histories, which we can get into. And I know we had Eric Krueger on a couple of years ago, one of the first episodes of Fox Cities Core. So I'll start out by just saying that you guys, if you're looking for like a rock band in the area, you open the book to Fox Cities rock bands, and Leading the Blind should be right there on the top of the page.
Too kind.
Right.
If somebody asked you to explain what kind of music is Leading the Blind, how would you answer?
I would say hard rock, rock and roll, straight up. Yeah, you guys agree?
I would say so. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of like we're kind of 90s kids, right? You know, so it you can kind of tell the roots are
grungy,
rooted in the 90s scene.
Yeah, we've heard like a cross between grunge influences, and then like Mike and Dave and I, not to speak for us, but we kind of bring this more indie, progressive Midwest indie rock sort of thing to
weirdness,
kind of off time signatures sometimes and whatever, to some of the melodies that Marty brings from the grunge influences, right? So it's kind of a cool hodgepodge.
Some harmonies. That's good. Love the harmonies.
So when did you start playing music, Marty?
Oh, I suppose around 4th grade. Took some guitar lessons from a teacher out by Freedom where I grew up, Miss Stefani. It was great.
Shout out.
Yep. Taught me how to play and sing, play some chords, sing some songs. It's all good. Michael rowed the boat ashore.
And then you eventually started Blind.
Yes.
And Blind, the music is pretty similar to Leading the Blind as far as style. You were inspired by, like you mentioned, a lot of the grunge and stuff from the 90s. When Eric came along, not to jump too far ahead, you had been out of Blind for quite some time. Were you looking to get a band together?
Well, we started playing with we played in another band, a cover band, And so we're playing tunes with those guys, and I'm like, why don't we just play some blind tunes? And actually, we were playing with Jimmy Van Oat. He was a bass player for Blind. And so he was playing in the cover band with us, and we just had a different drummer. And so, yeah, that's where we decided to start playing blind tunes again.
So when you're playing the cover songs, this is pre Mile of Music when some
Yeah,
people
oh, yeah.
thought cover song was like a dirty word.
Right,
So,
right.
when you decided you were gonna get some people together and start leading the Blind, was there any kind of talk about maybe being a cover band, original
no.
hybrid?
No, yeah. Just strictly original. Yeah, for sure. Blind actually played a bunch of cover tunes. We had a 3-hour show, or a 4-hour thing, and played a bunch of grunge songs and new rock songs, and but then we also mixed in. We had probably 2 hours of material that were all original, and then we'd also play, just all original shows, and we also played our typical all-night shows. But when to go back and start the Leading the Blind, it was like, this is just going to be all original, and so that's what it's been.
And Eric was technically the second member of Leading the Blind. What did Eric bring that was different from the original incarnation of Blind?
Well, when we started the Leading the Blind thing with Top Jimmy and Pat Whitehaven, we're the three-piece like Blind was, and Krueger would come to the shows, and I'd be like, come on up and sing this one with us, and he would just he started adding in just harmonies for some of the tunes, and then eventually just brought his guitar, and there we were, 4-piece.
And I think that's what signature thing of Leading the Blind too is Eric's harmonies. And that was something that you were doing right from the get-go.
Yeah, because going back to the cover band thing, when we were playing those songs, that was pretty much how I learned them. Obviously, like we just started playing, somebody would say, Marty, you should play this old Blind tune, or he would bring it up like, yeah, we're going to play one of these songs. And I had the record. I knew who Marty was from going back to Akoka. So prior to, and it used to be called Beaners, my brother ran it back in the day, and Blind played a show there then too. So I was familiar with some of those older songs, and then as we were doing that in the cover band, A-Town Unplugged at Maritime, every week I would get exposed to those tunes. And then once LTB started, they'd say, come up and sing this. I'd have the harmonies in my head. I'm like, all right. The next thing you know is, bring the guitar, and started writing some more songs together.
And then you ended up kind of bringing in a couple people that you knew into the band.
Yeah, like due to work commitments, like Top Jimmy and Pat, just busy guys, and I had a couple of heavy hitters in my Rolodex that I wanted to bring aboard. They came to my head right away, like great bass player and David Kiley, and this guy on the drums, Mike St. Clair. He was in a band called Scarlet Escape, which is fantastic. And and we realized that Jimmy had commitments and Pat had commitments. It just kind of worked its way into what we were doing, especially on that first record. We had like 3 or 4 songs recorded with Jimmy, and then
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
Dave came aboard and finished the record because Jimmy didn't have the time. Then after that, I think it was shortly after we got that record done, we played a release show at Maritime. It was May of 2013. I think your first show with us was Mile that summer, right? 2013? I think so, like by August. So like it kind of was very like rapid succession of an evolution there. But it's all about playing songs.
That's right.
So your first album was Into the Wasteland.
Into the Modern Wasteland, yeah.
And you recorded all your albums you've recorded at Rock Garden Studios.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason that you picked Rock Garden and a reason why you continue to record there?
Well, actually, like even the Blind album we did with Mark Goldie when he was at that Bonsai Studios, and Mark's great to work with. I like his input. He, especially for what I want to do or what we want to do, pretty just easy and get it recorded. not too concerned about, you know, some small mistakes, and Mark's always really good at pointing out what really needs to be taken care of as far as like if there's a mistake, that one's good, you can't even hardly hear it, or like he'll come out and say, there's something going on here that's no good, you know, you have to play something different, and you know, so I always enjoyed his input, and yeah, it's easy to work with, and we get it done fast and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, you've been pretty quiet over there, but when you joined the band, you're a drum powerhouse.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah.
Was that hard for Marty and Eric for you guys to get used to at first, with all of a sudden Mike's back there clobbering a little harder than you're used to?
Well, it is. It's not even that. It's the way that his rhythm is, which is awesome. But it's hard for me to sometimes like really find out where his pocket is and stuff like that, compared to like you know, past drummers, which is like super easy to find the pocket. He's got a little bit of a different style, and it's awesome. It's super hardcore rock and roll.
Comes from the UP.
Yeah. That's where it comes from.
It's
a little
unique
bit,
though.
It's a little bit different.
It's awesome.
A little bit northern.
So Mike, how was leading the blind different from Scarlet Escape?
Well, I mean, every project's a little bit different. You know, I like it that it's a little bit more straightforward. But I just have a weird style about me. You know, like I don't think I could play just straight beats, you know, and be satisfied. I guess, you know, like I guess I get bored and just want to play in the pocket a little bit more. So that's like where my downbeat is kind of, you know, in the pocket, I guess you would say.
And obviously, you were a fan of the band before joining.
Yeah. I've been a fan of these guys. Scarlet Escape the first time we ever played in front of people. It was at an open mic at the Maritime, where the Creeps were hosting.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we got up there and like I don't even know, like it was probably.
I kind of remember that.
2003 maybe, you know, 2004.
Right.
Must have been 2004 because we were living here. But yeah, that was the first time we ever. It was the fall, you know, and like we just hopped up there and played. Like we had like 2 songs written.
Mm-hmm.
Played those 2 songs and played a couple covers, you know.
Right.
That we just winged and.
Yep.
Like it was awesome.
Yeah,
like,
it was awesome. I remember that. Huh.
So that's going back, you know, 17, 18 years now almost.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Totally.
You guys have any ambition to put out a greatest hits album?
No.
Well, considering Marty was supposed to retire in
that's
2020 because it was a sort of an inside joke with leading the blind. You'd be blind, you get your sight 20/20 vision. Horrible joke in retrospect, but we keep them going. So I mean, there's more hits to write.
Krieger. It's all Krieger's fault. Sorry
that
about
time.
that, you guys. You ought to apologize to everybody, Krieger. It's your fault.
It is all my fault. I do apologize, everybody. Sorry about that.
So after Into the Modern Wasteland, which you guys had a video out, Gray, I think was the title.
Black and Gray.
Black and Gray. Gray video was a studio kind of video of you guys in the studio. And I talked to Eric last time he was on the show about seeing you guys play at Mill Creek when it was Mill Creek, and they would put the video up on the screen and the band would play along. And I said in that interview, I said I was blown away that you guys beat for beat matched up perfectly. There was no like syncing away from the video, and Eric credited Mike for that.
I would also credit Tony, who was playing the video, because my guess he would almost be.
Oh, the VJ?
Yeah, he would
The
be
video disc jockey?
right. He would be. He could have sped it up at times and kept it, you know, in line possibly. I don't know.
It was amazing though, because
Yeah.
you see when bands do that.
I mean, I didn't see the video while we were playing,
Right.
so I have no idea. Yeah, I was just playing the song. Had my eyes closed probably.
Yeah.
Bunch of elephants upstairs. But so after Into the Modern Wasteland, you guys released In Through the Red Door in 2015. Cool thing, you guys put that one out on vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys did a ton of stuff around that period. You did Rock Garden Live.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Mark Oldie did a listening. I don't know if it was private or if it was public, but he actually had his set up with the nice big speakers and played the album. Was that kind of kind of crazy to hear your music coming out of a turntable?
Well, at home, yeah, but he did that himself. That was a thing that he did in the studio, I think, to break his speakers in, from what I remember him saying, which is pretty cool. I remember seeing that post. But yeah, getting it, that was definitely my first, at least full length album. Like Sunday Flood did some 7-inches and stuff like that, but yeah, getting a nice big slab of vinyl is a cool experience for sure.
Right. Yeah, that was a goal.
Would you guys consider doing vinyl again? And I think that was the only album you did vinyl. Right?
Yeah.
It's a little expensive, so it's pretty tough.
And there's a timeline now. It seems like there's such a demand for that. A lot of the presses are backed up, from what I understand. So we would have to, I mean, we could realistically do that for the next record, since we don't have much of it written. And we could plan ahead and be like, hey, in a year and a half, when the plants are caught up, we could have a vinyl record out. But
Well, also we'd have to play some shows and sell some merch to raise some money for it. Yeah. So,
all works together.
right.
Do you guys like doing merch? Is that something that the band enjoys, or is that something that is sort of one of the nuisances of?
Well, I typically forget about it, and Krieger's like, "Hey, did you bring the merch pin?" I'm like, "Oh, no, forgot all about it."
But thankfully, we have a resource by the name of Crazy Todd
Yeah,
Hammond.
no kidding.
Who keeps us on the straight and narrow for a lot of things.
Right.
And I was going to talk about Crazy Todd a little bit later, but let's talk about him now. He was a big fan of your band, Blind,
Right.
and of course, he's almost like a fifth member of the band.
Absolutely.
Well, I've got a little clip here I'm just going to play.
Oh boy.
This was from Gabriel Productions. This was on PBS.
Yeah.
I isolated all the Todd parts.
Cool.
So to give the viewers a little idea of who Todd Van Hammond is, here we go.
Ever since the band started, it was always just, they really wanted to just focus on writing and playing music. So anything else that comes up, emails, website, if there's any contracts needed for shows, all of our recording sessions, booking the time at the studio and handling payments. So it's, handling the finances and keeping the bankroll of what we've got for the next recording session. So we've just been in this mode of write a new record, put it out, play some shows. Generally, Eric and Marty are writing all the songs, so they get together, just the two of them, and they're working on new material. The band will go in the studio, and we have other songs kind of that they've been working on, so they will record full band versions of those same songs, along with other new songs, and then have another full length.
That kind of does a good job of kind of telling what Todd
Crazy Todd.
does. Yeah.
That could have been the show right there, Andy. Thanks. Have a good day. It sums it up, though.
So that was, can you tell me about that? Because that was a segment and that aired on PBS.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved in that, and what exactly was it?
We got an invitation from actually one of our old roommates, Mike Olin is his name. Super good dude. He has been around for years, just around all of our bands. Appleton guy, moved back and forth from here in Milwaukee quite often, and he lived with us at the Sunday Flood house back in 2007 to 10. That was when the Scarlet Escape house was going on. Mm-hmm. He's into photography and audio video and what have you, and I think that invitation came through a project they were doing from UW in Milwaukee, like the film school, and there was like in collaboration with PBS Milwaukee. So somebody reached out and said, we'd love to learn a little bit more about your band. We've heard great things, and they came up and hung out and filmed us at practice, and we chatted a little bit about what we do. So it's very cool.
It's really, really well done.
Yeah, they did a great job.
You guys have done a lot of other cool things as well. The Rock Garden Live. Can you tell me about that experience?
Yeah,
It was real good.
yeah.
That was the one with the in the round, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's before we knew anything about a TV show happening or anything.
right. That was the release show for In Through the Red
It
Door.
was just going to be a fun release show.
Right.
Do it done in the round, which
Yep.
is
right.
cool.
And Mark recorded it, obviously.
My future brother-in-law was sitting right behind me, and I just met him right before the show. and he's a drummer. So, you know, he's like sitting right behind me, and I was just like, oh, you know, I can't screw up, you know, like I gotta impress this guy I just met, and like,
Yeah.
so I was nervous as hell like the whole time, but
it was fun. I mean, it was
really
it was
cool.
just a big like gathering, and I mean, I think that it went hand in hand with the timeline of like Mark's concept for the show, and it just worked out that he's like, yeah, we'll do this, and we already had it planned with Crazy Todd as far as like we had food and beers available.
Oh.
We had a bunch of friends, and we just wanted to have a celebration of a new album.
That's right. CD release
And,
party.
really
That's
fun.
why it's called a party.
Yeah, and then having it around obviously is super cool. I just love that vibe. It's kind of like practicing, but with a bunch of people surrounding you, and
It was a great turnout too.
awesome. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was in attendance that night.
All
I
right.
remember. Yeah,
As before they put the kibosh on the kegs, but
right.
They had the kibosh on the kegs.
yeah, eventually the kegs got shut down and it was a
oh no,
bring your
I
own.
made that keg.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
that was right. He
So
made,
it was a bring your own.
he
sort
brewed a
of.
special batch of what we called leading the beer.
Oh yeah, you guys had pint glasses too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I should have had mine ready today.
Yeah.
So you did that. You've played at pretty much all the big festivals around the area. Is there a festival in particular that you look forward to every year?
Well, of course, Mile of Music, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have played Oktoberfest. I think we're gonna. Are we playing Oktoberfest this year?
We are, yeah. We were supposed to obviously last year, and then things happened with that, lack of volunteers, what have you. So they basically just took everybody who was booked last year and are moving it up the calendar year. So we have that coming up.
All right, we got a gig.
Do you notice the difference between Oktoberfest and Mile Music crowds?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like it's just obviously there's a different dynamic of having people in the road versus like, you know, multiple bars and other outdoor stages. That's the biggest difference. But I think we like playing music anywhere we can.
That's right.
So it's cool. Like just playing songs.
We like playing music with our friends.
We do.
In Mile Music, do you find yourself selling a lot of merch at Mile?
That'd be a great question for Crazy Todd. No, as far as I know, yeah, it's been good. You know, we've got different batches of shirts, and we've got all these releases now, and then having the vinyl available is good. So yeah, between that and then obviously Bandcamp, we sell through that, an exclusive company, and leadingtheblindrock.com. I think we sell a fair share. So we have what we call the band kitty, and that is our funds that we use for future endeavors.
Like maybe putting out another vinyl. But also, yeah, Eric and I, when we recorded the EP acoustic duo thing, it was kind of because we'd be playing our acoustically at Mile of Music, and people would come up and want to buy a CD, and they're not getting what we just played. They're getting like a full rock band album. So Krueger had the idea we should record some songs just acoustically, and then therefore if we play a duo show, well, this is kind of like what you're hearing, you know, rather than the hard rock Leading the Blind albums.
So that's the album Into the Hollow.
Oh yeah.
Is Into the Hollow into the middle of an acoustic guitar? Is that?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. And then our plan would be Out of the Hollow would be the same songs recorded as a full rock band.
It's a good
Possibly.
point to show you guys for our segment that we like to do called Band Reaction.
Oh boy.
We play a clip of a previous guest, and then we get your reaction. This one's a little different. During COVID, we did a few shows. We tried doing a few shows over Zoom. Didn't like it. You'll hear why, just in some of the confusion here. But the band you're about to hear is a band out of Madison, Wisconsin called Zeroed Hero. They've played up here a few times. Let's hear what they have to say and get your reaction.
Band reaction. Band reaction.
Are you guys going to start doing singles instead of a full album? And do you think that singles is the way to go in today's age, or do you still prefer releasing full albums? I mean, if you could do it again, would you release Love Letters to a Mannequin?
I think we're gonna leak it up, you know.
Leak it and then put the whole thing out?
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, like yeah. I mean,
Remix.
and you
never know.
I don't know. I think it really depends on what your goals are and what you're trying to do and all this kind of a thing, and because there's pluses and minuses from a promotional, I suppose, approach. There's pluses and minuses to both, right? And for what's going on right now, it just seems like putting out singles on a regular basis or a semi-regular basis just kind of feels like it's an appropriate thing to do right now. You know, having grown up on vinyl, I'm a sucker for albums. You know, I mean, and because that was in my mind, that's how music was formed in my consciousness. For me, it was you've got this big black disc of magic, and it's got 8 or 10 songs on it, and but that's evolved over time, and that's not the way music exists for people anymore. And so who's to say?
Your reaction?
Who is to say? You know, like I'm from that, you know, that school of thought too. Like I like albums, but like that isn't how people digest music anymore.
That's true. Yeah, there is. I always enjoyed full albums because the way that it's laid out, a good album, you have ups and downs, and you listen to the full thing, and the best albums, you can listen to the album front to back, and
over and over.
Yeah, and like there's parts of the album that are weird, and you go down, brings you back up on the next song. That's pretty cool. But that being said, like Mike said, people don't digest music that way anymore. They, they want to just buy their favorite song and listen to that one and put it on a playlist with a bunch of other songs. Mm-hmm. So, although the recording process, we get a bunch of songs together, go into the studio and record them all. So therefore we would have, do a block of 4 and another block of 4, and we'd have 8, or a block of 5 and another block of 5, we'd have 10, which would be a full album.
Yeah, and to that point, I guess we never just thought, let's just put that one song out for now. I think we've always wanted to have them be a group of cohesive tunes.
Yeah, Leading the Blind seems to be an album band, which is kind of, it's kind of how I am too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the Greatest Hits album definitely should be put out on vinyl.
It's coming. What year? We should call it out right now. 2030.
Right.
How do you guys feel about the crowdfunding? And have you ever done crowdfunding on an album?
No.
We haven't.
I don't even know what that is.
I think
I love that shit.
It'd be like, pay $40, $50, get like a CD when it comes out. It's kind of collecting the money up front.
Huh.
Yeah.
Never considered.
Maybe we'll do that for the Greatest Hits album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've never really given it much thought. I think we're just so used to the way that we do it, where we write songs and we just record them, and we take whatever money we have available, and then just like, it's just like Todd said in that interview, it's just like this cycle of creation and, recording them and hopefully playing out and repeat.
Mm-hmm. Get some gigs.
Yep.
Earn some money there.
I mean, that said, if anybody wants to throw us some money, we'll take it. Put that in the kitty. For sure.
Marty and Eric, you guys sang the national anthem at the Timber Rattler Stadium a while back. Was that under the Leading the Blind banner, or was that?
It was.
Yeah, it was 4 Mile Music. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That had to be a crazy experience. And was it like people singing in places like that, you get reverb and echo? Was that kind of hard to practice for that? Did they let you practice in the stadium at all?
No.
No. Yeah.
And it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Looking back at it.
Right.
Just go through with it.
Yep.
Keep going.
Yeah, they handed us a microphone, and we're like, we're going to put you right here.
Yep.
And turn towards the crowd. And we're like, okay, we're going to go for it. We've sang it before with one of the guys from Maytown Unplugged, Rodney Zimmerman, who's another powerhouse musician. So we've done a 3-part harmony thing with that. We did that at Sunset Park in Kimberly for like a national softball tournament or something like that. This is like probably 2008 or something along those lines. It was a long time ago. So then when we got the invite from the guys at Mile, we were like, absolutely. So we ran through it with a 2-part harmony, and
we're actually currently trying to be able to sing the national anthem, say at like a Brewer game.
Yes. Or Lambeau.
Yeah.
Bucks game. Anybody's got the hookup, let us know.
Did you have a lot of family and friends that went to that Timber Rattler performance?
Crazy Todd Van Hammond.
Of course, he's your manager. He has to go.
My family had the wrong time. They didn't make it.
Oh.
Yeah.
They were tailgating in the parking lots.
Right.
They get to the next game. That doesn't look like Marty.
Yeah.
You guys have also done. I know, Mike. Sorry, I'm leaving you out a bunch here, but cool, Marty and Eric, you guys have done the Local 5 Live a bunch of times. They're friends over there at Local 5 Live.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered getting the full band in the studio?
Absolutely. It would be great. I mean, so far, if it's feasible, right?
Yeah, is it a possibility? I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it's pretty acoustic, bit driven. Like I haven't really seen much full rock and roll there. But I mean, what would really be cool is if they did a remote thing where we're at a, like a venue like Gibson Music Hall or something like that, where they would have us remote, because I think in the TV studio itself, it'd be pretty hard to pull off.
Yeah, like I don't think they really have the sound equipment. The first time we like plugged in our guitars, and did we have mics and stuff?
We plugged in when we were on Fox 11 for Good Day Wisconsin, and then the 2 times we were on Local 5 Live, we did. The last time we had a microphone just in front of us.
Oh, we had those clip-ons.
And then we had clip-ons for the last time, for vocal.
Yeah, so it's like I don't think they really have like a sound board and separate mics and.
And we'd probably have to tranquilize this guy to get him to hold back a little bit on the volume.
Yeah.
But.
We've got a question, you guys. You're on the air with Leading the Blind. What's your question?
Oh, a call.
Hi. I was just wondering, what are some of your most memorable experiences when you're on tour or during the show? Like if you've had any crazy stories that have happened along the way. Thanks.
Crazy stories.
Go for it.
I don't know if I have one.
I bet you Mike has one.
Krieger's the one. What? You got a crazy story, don't you?
I suppose if I go through the memory banks. I'm thinking specifically for Leading the Blind, though.
Right.
I mean, I would honestly just have to say the Rock Garden Live thing was definitely going back to that. That was just a really neat experience, Just everything about it. The vibes there were awesome.
Well, I'm barely paying attention usually, so I don't even know what's going on except for just playing tunes. Sorry about that.
The 2 Rock Garden record release shows are both really good.
Yeah, the second one we weren't in the round. We were just
in the front.
That's not a crazy story, though.
Not really, though. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I guess releasing the first record too at Maritime, Marty built a stage.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was like, kind of that transition, that beautiful, wonderful room that we had as a resource for rock shows, and John was all about it. He's like, "This is so cool, putting a stage in here," and I don't know, the vibe of that show was awesome. I mean, there's other stories too where I saw Scarlet escape and Mike broke a stick and accidentally launched it, and it lodged underneath my eyeball, under my glasses, and it stuck like this.
It was stuck in your face.
That was a crazy story.
Like it broke like a dagger.
It
was sharp.
And he was doing like one of these things, I think, and just was throwing it out to keep grab another fresh stick, and all of a sudden, I was watching like you usually do, because Scarlet Escape is a great band. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I'm like, yeah, all right, this is great. And then all of a sudden, and I opened my eyes and I just saw this object in my cheek. Is this real? And then everybody kind of looked at me and was like, dude, are you okay?
I still feel bad about it.
Oh, no.
I have no idea how the hell
You know what?
that went that way.
That's a rock and roll battle scar, dude.
No eyes were lost that day.
No.
And then John had that stick behind the bar. Like
Yes, he kept that as
like that, like inch of blood on it, like forever stained.
To remind you,
stained
Mike.
in blood.
It was to make you feel bad every
I
time.
switched
you went
wood
in there.
after that too. I don't use that white oak anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the
That was
hickory.
a pretty crazy story, though, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy.
In terms of craziness.
Well, thanks for the call. We've got a question comment from Bob Minter, of course, the architect of Code Zero Radio.
Mm-hmm.
He says he's got a tech question. Was the vocal part on the intro to Mexico hard to sing that quiet? Was the mic distance fairly critical? Are McDonald's fries better than Wendy's?
I'm not much of a fry eater.
Oh man.
I go for another cheeseburger over the fries.
Oh,
but
yeah, double up on the meat. Way to
boy, it was I didn't do anything different in the beginning part of Mexico. I just maybe Mark brought it down, but I didn't try to sing quietly or anything, I don't think.
Right.
And same with the mic position. It was the same as always, right up to the whatever that filter thing is there.
Yeah, but it's a great question, though, Bob, because, I mean, it is just a different part traditionally than, like, what we do. You know what I mean? Like, we're usually full band at all times. Granted, there's dynamics and stuff with our music, but I mean that's like one of the only songs that has like an intro with just guitar and vocals, so it's got that kind of quieter vibe till the full band kicks in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've got another call here. You're on the air with Leading the Blind. What's your question?
Hey guys. Yeah, I know that Eric is working on some solo stuff and always has about 8 million projects going on. Just wondering if anyone else is doing the same. Marty, do you have anything going on? Mike, are you doing anything else on the side? Just anything like that. Are you guys doing anything that's kind of tangential to Leading the Blind?
No. I just rely on Krueger because he's the best.
Oh, come on now.
I can't do it on my own. I need the harmonies. So, yeah.
Well, and thank you for the call. That's a good point, Eric. You're working on some solo material right now?
Yeah, I recorded on Monday with Amos Pitch at Crunch of Memory, and I did 8 songs, and I'm gonna put those out in the spring. I guess to the caller's question or point, I usually have quite a few projects going on, and I've never really done anything by myself before. I've always had somebody helping out, which I totally like, but it's like, I'm just going to try just putting some songs out. And I mean, a lot of them are going to end up being something else, I'm sure. Like Mike and I have been talking about doing other projects together for a long time. We kind of had a band, quote unquote, and we had a good 5 or 6 songs written called Car Barn with David Kiley, who is our bass player. Obviously, we haven't mentioned him. We should probably talk about Dave more.
Yeah.
And his,
Hi, Dave.
And his appreciation of Hot Wheels specifically. But yeah, we've got a handful of those songs with Dave, and I think that we're just busy being dads, and obviously with Leading the Blind, and our work commitments and all that stuff, and raising our families. But we're gonna get those songs going and hopefully put them out and play shows too with that.
Hey Krueger, when will we be able to have a copy of your solo album?
That's a good question, Marty. If everything goes well, I would say April.
April, okay. Looking forward.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's going to be something that we all should check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free. It'll be cool.
We have another question here. It's from DJ Bear. He's the host of Amped Up Tuesday nights. If you haven't listened to the show, the Bear's got lots of great music on, including a lot of Leading the Blind. The show airs right before the newest edition of Code Zero Radio, the Ike Rumba Show. Amped Up starts at 7 p.m. every Tuesday night. Check it out. His question: I love the track The Weight Has Been Lifted. On the live video of The Weight Has Been Lifted, recorded at Rock Garden Studio, You talk about at the beginning of the song that those words being written on a piece of drywall. Can you explain a little further how that song came to be from what? Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah. There was a piece of drywall at Pat's house that said, "The weight has been lifted."
That is inaccurate.
What?
This was when you were redoing your basement, and you needed a hand lifting drywall. So we went to Menards. We got a bunch of drywall. We were bringing it downstairs, and then we saw the phrase on that drywall.
It was at my house?
It was at your house. So
I thought it was
accurate,
at P-Dub's house when he was redoing his
this was you.
other room.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is at your place.
All right.
Checks and balances.
I don't know
Exactly.
if I agree.
Keeping this guy
I don't
honest
know
here.
if I'm in agreement with that.
Oh
but
yeah. Oh yeah.
Since I barely ever pay attention, you're probably right, Krieger.
Wait, so that song's about drywall?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Indirectly.
I had no idea.
Indirectly.
Yeah.
But, it turned it into something else, obviously.
Yeah, lyrically, I think we shifted into obviously telling a different story, but it was kind of cool the way that phrase influenced, the lyrical content. I don't know. That's kind of been a fun part of helping you write, I think, is like Marty will have a phrase or I'll have one, and we kind of bounce ideas off each other and how it's going to flow into the next part. So when we bring it to Dave and Mike, it's like, that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, it's fun hashing out lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like Krieger said, just trying to figure stuff out. And, yeah, it's a good time.
Is everybody in the band, or is everybody a dad in the band?
Yes.
Yep.
Does that affect the band in any way as far as the songwriting? When you're writing song lyrics, are you kind of reflecting differently on possibly like when you're writing Blind songs?
I'm going to go with no, not for me personally. Maybe a lot of people write songs about something specifically, and Krieger's actually always trying to make me do that. You should write a song about this. And all I'm doing is just trying to come up with cool sounding phrases, and eventually the song has a meaning to it. That's my process. Not really, like I said, I'm barely paying attention the way it is, so it's just all random stuff.
I'm going to go in a little different direction here. We talked about Mike's awesome hammering of the drums. You guys practice in a space similar to this. It's kind of a bricked basement. Do you guys wear ear protection when you practice?
I do.
So do I,
Yep.
unless I forget it, which is probably 70% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't until like my 30s, but then ever since getting the ringing in the ears, you realize you have to do something, otherwise you're going to be deaf someday.
Yep.
And especially, sometimes it's too late when you notice you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Do you wear ear protection when you play live shows?
I don't personally. I haven't made that jump yet, but I'm sure it's coming. There's just something about I've got to, and to my own detriment, probably eventually I'm going to pay for it. But it helps me. I've got to be able to hear everything the right way somehow, like clearly. And obviously, if I don't use protection soon, I'm not going to be able to hear everything as clearly. But I've got to be able to hear the vocals. I've got to be able to hear, the rhythm section well.
And you guys leading the blinds very harmony specific. You and Marty are doing harmonies pretty much every song. Does that make it challenging to focus on guitar when you're playing the guitar? Is that obviously any little thing that sounds off is going to kind of throw your rhythm off a little bit?
I used to have a problem with it because I would get hung up either on vocals or guitar, and then whatever one I was focusing on at the time, the other would, be not as good. But now I just like playing music with my friends, so I'm not even worried about anything except for doing the best I can, and it doesn't matter. Just go with it.
I think
That's right.
No, go ahead.
Actually, you even like end up being able to do it without even thinking, just playing and singing.
That's where I was going to go with it, is that the way we write songs usually is like on acoustic guitars, and like when we're singing and writing, kind of hashing out the parts. I think once one of us has a vocal melody, it's pretty. We've been doing this for a long time. We've been singing together since like 2004, so we kind of just know where our vocals are without really thinking about it. There's like a very intuitive force that's going on. So I think it's just more about like muscle memory at that point with guitar lines, if that makes sense.
We have a special treat coming up. We're just kind of getting it ready right now. Marty and Eric are going to play us a live song. So this is where I get to just talk to Mike a little bit, the drummer from Leading the Blind. Mike, do you find it difficult in these situations when Eric and Marty they have their own thing? It's almost like they can read each other's mind.
Right.
Do you ever get intimidated by that and wonder if they're thinking about you when you don't know it?
I never, now I am. I didn't before, but
Mike,
jeez.
I barely pay attention.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on half the time.
Well, I mean, you guys do have, you can tell you guys have a bond. And I don't know, it seems like if you're, David or Mike, maybe sometimes, it's like you guys are doing all this other stuff together. But Mike, you're saying there's not a problem with that. I'm trying to stir up stuff here and being unsuccessful.
No, like I think like the community that we all came up in, like the Maritime, was such a close knit circle of friends, and like I kind of felt at home like right away. Like I thought all these people I was meeting were amazing, and felt at home from day one. And it's a rare thing in the music community. I never felt that anywhere else.
Yeah, and there's like this, it builds off of that with like the relationship of Sunday Flood and Scarlet Escape 2 were very tight and played a bunch of shows together and put a split CD out together, and there's the same like similar cloth that we're cut from, I think, to that point, right?
Absolutely.
Maritime, yeah. And I mean Dave too, obviously I've been playing with him as long as I have with Marty too. So yeah, there's a lot of years. We're all getting old, but it's fun. It's all about making music with our friends and playing it, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So can you guys see Leading the Blind going on into your 60s and beyond?
Sheesh.
We're still alive, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and considering Marty, has now passed that threshold of the retirement.
That's right.
I think
made it past 2020.
I think it's going to be going on indefinitely. We're just going to keep on doing this cycle of creation.
Yeah.
So.
Marty, I've seen you do a couple shows like where you're sort of on a chair.
Oh,
like using a chair. What's the deal with that? At first I thought maybe you were injured.
Oh.
Then somebody said you just like sitting on a chair or like kneeling or whatever you're doing.
I kind of like was thinking about the whole concept of like a band and how you stand up and look at the crowd. And I just thought, why are we doing that? And granted, we're supposed to be entertaining the crowd, and that's why we're trying to engage the crowd. But you know what? I just like playing music with my friends. So I sit on a chair because who cares if you're standing or sitting? And then I just look at my friends and I'm playing music with them. And at times I'm like, look at this. I'm playing music with my friends. This is killer.
And he's sitting down.
Yeah, and the drummer's sitting down.
Maybe I'll start standing. Switch it up.
So I just kind of was like thinking, there's really no purpose of standing. Sometimes maybe you can rock harder if you're standing up. That's a possibility, because I know that was my mentality back in Rodney when we were playing at the Maritime acoustically. He wanted to sit down, and I'm like, no. We got to rock out. We're going to stand. So I've now gone to the fact that you can rock just as hard sitting down as standing up. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Well, especially me, because I'm not doing anything crazy while I'm standing except for standing. So
I think we've unlocked the key to our potential longevity. We just keep him sitting. It's going to keep going. He's going to be nice and comfortable. We can keep on writing tunes.
I mean, someday it might be a recliner. Just kick back.
So being a louder band, where's the quietest like place you've played? Have you played the full band in a small coffee house before, full volume?
Well, Deja Vu, really, I would think.
Yeah, I would guess that would be the biggest adjustment we've had to make.
Yeah, we never played in a coffee shop, did we?
Not as LTB.
Right. Mm-hmm. But actually the first couple times we played at Deja Vu, we were trying to tone it down a little bit and keep it a little more quiet. We actually played acoustic guitars the
You
first
had
time
your,
we had a gig
sticks.
there. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you call those? Hot sticks or beef sticks or
Yeah, little whatever.
whatever those
Hot
are called.
rods?
Hot rocks.
Unplug sticks.
Yep, but then at some point, the owner Kelly, who's a great dude, was like, "You don't need to do that. You guys sound great. It's not too loud, and obviously they have great sound engineers there, so."
Plus, Kelly likes rock and roll.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
So I saw you guys play at Oktoberfest a few years ago. That was a fun time.
Yeah.
I don't remember the street, but obviously it was back ways. When you play Oktoberfest, is it? I mean, you're playing in front of a lot of people that have never seen you before. Do you feel the need to kind of stack the set list a certain way to kind of appeal to everybody, or do you just kind of play the same old set that you would do even if you're playing in front of some of your seasoned fans?
Well, actually, this is kind of embarrassing, but yeah, we actually threw some covers in for the Oktoberfest gig because that is the kind of crowd that really attends Oktoberfest. So let's not do that again.
Yeah, I mean,
let's do what we want.
We did. We threw a couple of those in there, but
yeah,
I mean, overall, we just play our songs. Other than that, and I think that there may be like this historic viewpoint of like that's really what that fest is about. But I think with Mali Music's influence, and there's been a lot more open-mindedness lately, and people are more receptive to the original thing, and I think our songs hold up. So we have fun just turning up a little bit and letting them rip.
We're getting near the end of the show, and you guys are going to play in a little bit, but I want to mention, just to make sure that I mention all your releases. Into the Modern Wasteland, you had In Through the Red Door, and Everywhere I've Been, and Into the Hollow. Everywhere I've Been has my favorite Leading the Blind song. This broke my pen. It starts out, don't you know? I find myself walking around the house and singing that, and every time we play that on the station, before it starts, I can't help myself. It's like, don't you know?
Cool.
Good stuff. And we've got another caller here. You're on with Leading the Blind. What's your question?
Hi, I was just wondering, do you prefer like the learning process of writing and learning new music, or do you prefer more of the end outcome, like actually performing and playing music live? And is there anything that you dislike about the writing or learning process? Thanks.
I'm going to go with...
Yeah, very good question.
Yeah, back in the day, as a kid and writing songs, it was the coolest thing to write a song and you'd have a riff and you couldn't stop playing it. Mm-hmm. It was great, It sounded so good. That, like, I've lost that. It's not the same as... You know what I mean?
I get it.
Sure.
Don't you know?
But I would say that maybe, like, still the writing process and coming up with something that you think sounds cool is probably the best thing. And then the final product and actually performing it, boy, isn't as, cool as, I mean, it's cool, but when you're just coming up with it and trying to figure it out, it's... and you come up with a cool phrase, and it's like, oh, yeah, good one, Krueger.
Yeah. And then you hear, like what everybody else brings to the table from a riff or whatever. Like you hear the bass line come together, or you hear like what Mike does on a drum beat, and that's something like you would never have thought of. So that's a cool part of the process for sure.
I love writing. I love like the first time you get through the song, like all the way through. Like
right.
Just, and like there's so many near train wrecks, going through it, but then like you get through it and you're just like, holy crap,
It's done. And then if you play it out, I think for all of us, like once you play out a new song, the song's done then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's a cool feeling too. That puts a bow on it.
So before we get to the live song, what's next for Leading the Blind?
Well, I think we have a gig at Oktoberfest.
We do, and we're playing Deja Vu the week prior to, I believe, September 10th. So a couple weeks before that.
We got 2 gigs.
So we're easing into it. I mean, it's the way that we are with being dads and being, having careers and all that stuff. Like very seasonal job for Mike as far as like his bandwidth is concerned. So we have to like really pause in the winter months. And then obviously with COVID it was weird and, you know, whatever. But we're still working on tunes, and we're going to pick it back up kind of how we always do every year. It just sort of gets back into this cycle like we've been talking about a bunch. So,
we definitely need to get back going and writing some more tunes and recording some more tunes. So, yeah, we have to record another album.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll put it on vinyl.
There you go.
If people want to find out more about Leading the Blind, you can go to leadingtheblindrock.com. Also, you guys are on Facebook. And you going to play a little something for us today?
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. We should probably have our headphones on for it, correct?
Absolutely. Mike should tell a story while we get ready.
Yeah, Mike, what story do you have?
I don't have a story per se. This is one of my first Saturdays off from work. Prior to last Saturday, I was working every Saturday, so a shout out to all postal workers everywhere.
Thanks for coming in on your day off and
Absolutely.
doing this.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Andy, thanks for doing this show. Thanks for the
pleasure.
passion of music and spending your time doing this. It's incredible.
I would echo that, and then also shout out to all like Bob and Bear and everybody, the whole crew of what you guys are doing on Code Zero Radio. We appreciate the support, and you know, not just us, everybody. You know, all the bands that are out there and singer-songwriters. You guys are helping out. It's very cool.
Thank you.
Okay, ready for this one? We're all set, huh? Hopefully you can hear all this real good. This is called Same Old Story, huh? So
it's on the Into the Hollow EP.
Same old story. It brought me to my knees. Now I'm crawling everywhere I go. Every time I feel like standing in the rain. Why can't I peacefully be stoned? And try to decide what you can. Everything changing. Broken victim of your circumstance. Standing in line. Sorry, I did you wrong. I'll leave this world alone. I escaped this world to find my paradise, searching for one like no other. Yeah, same old story. And I always clap for myself, just so you know.
That was awesome. Thank you for driving the bar way up to an unreachable height for future shows.
Whatever.
Marty Paschke, Eric Krueger, Mike St. Clair, thank you so much for doing Fox Cities Core on WCZR. And definitely go check out Leading the Blind. You will not be disappointed.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
Have a good weekend, everybody.